About a few months ago, I made a video where I reacted to the new F3. If you're wondering what's F3, think of it as an E3 but for FNF mods, hence the name. But during that stream, there was one FNF mod that immediately caught my attention, FNF Indie-Cross. It was a mod about what's basically my three most favorite game franchises ever, Cuphead, Bendy, and of course, Undertale. And besides from the nostalgia, the mod looked genuinely amazing. The trailer was nicely edited, the visuals looked really appealing, and not to mention there's like 20 plus people working on this mod. Some of them being my most favorite FNF mod creators ever. This seemed like one of, if not the biggest FNF mods to date, and I was hyped for it. And so, I waited, and waited, and waited. But, after almost 8 months, Jesus Christ, is that a long time, a few Twitter arguments, and also a few leaks that were, let's just say, really not good, and countless hype surrounding the mod, Indie-Cross finally dropped, and oh boy, did it drop. But, this part of the video isn't about how much beef more could start in one day, but instead a review of the mod itself. So if you came here to listen to me rant about Twitter, skip ahead to this part, I guess. Before we discuss gameplay, I want to say that I'm going to be reviewing the original version of Indie-Cross, and then I'll discuss each one of the updates in order after I discuss the entire mod, seeing as I played the one on launch day, and it's just a lot easier for me to review that one and then discuss all the updates later on in the video. But Indie-Cross opens up with a beautifully animated cutscene of Boyfriend falling through a bunch of indie games. I'm going to assume that the indie games shown here were a sort of hint at the new DLC that'd be coming to the mod. If so, a Shovel Knight week would be awesome. If you're wondering what's the plot of the mod or the story of Indie-Cross, well, it's honestly super simple. Boyfriend gets sucked into a portal, then appears in the indie game, and boom, you fight that indie game guy who's trying to kill you because I guess they were hired to kill Boyfriend. The first week in the Indie-Cross mod is Cuphead, and holy crap, did DAGames do an amazing job at voice acting for Cuphead.
Now if I were a crazy portal opening, where would I be?
And it's not even just the voice acting, the animation for this mod was amazing once again. Now when it comes to Cuphead's music, well, unpopular opinion, but this was most definitely my least favorite week. Wait. Let me explain. It might be my least favorite week, but I still really enjoyed it. While Snake Eyes was definitely not my cup of tea. You get it? Never mind. I still really enjoyed both of the other two songs. Technicolor genuinely felt as if it was something out of Cuphead. Now, it's time to discuss Knockout, the song that probably 50% of the people who disliked this mod probably got stuck on, said this mod's mid, and then went on to Twitter to rant about it. Now, I will admit that the mod did a really poor job at explaining anything going on about this song, kind of just more of hoping that the player would understand the mechanics as time went on. Now, to explain the mechanics of Knockout, in order to tell when you're meant to dodge Cuphead's charged attacks, if you look over at his arrows, you can see when you get to parry note. When you get to a set of 4 parry notes, it's going to be a charged bullet. And when it's a set of 2 parry notes, it's going to be a roundabout. That means you're meant to dodge the attack twice. Once when it originally appears, and then the second one when it rounds about and comes back. I'll stop. Now that we got that out of the way, it's time to discuss what probably tripped up most people who originally played the mod. So, it turns out you're not supposed to attack Cuphead when he shoots the chasers, but instead it's there as a challenge to try and confuse the player, because if you attack when Cuphead uses his chasers, it's an instant death, because you won't get the next parry note until after Cuphead starts using his pea shooter, meaning that you won't be able to save yourself. Remember when it's so hard for me to beat this, and I'm doing this like the first try. And I killed myself. Oh my god. Stop! Oh my god, wait. But, aside from that one oversight of explaining to the player how to actually play, Knockout is still an amazing song. And honestly, probably one of my most favorite songs in the entire mod. Orenji Music did an amazing job on this song. And while I literally did just complain about the mechanics, once you understand what to do, the song becomes a lot less stressful and honestly, kind of fun. But that might just be the veteran rhythm gamer in me speaking. After beating Knockout, you get one of the coolest cutscenes of Cuphead just beating Boyfriend to a pulp. Oh dang, he got Boyfriend. Oh snap! Oh, Boyfriend is dead. Oh my god, Boyfriend is on. I don't remember this being so cool. Boyfriend is oh my god, Mugman is so angry. Right before Boyfriend gets oofed, he gets sucked into a mysterious portal, and then 1 week later, Boyfriend falls into the land of Undertale. Sans then announces that he was hired to kill Boyfriend, but not until after a few rap battles. The first Sans song is Whoopee, which I know it might seem like it's an extremely hard song, but after the first few seconds, it turns out Sans was just using his most powerful attack first. But while Whoopee isn't the best song, it's still really enjoyable, and is honestly pretty good. Now, a special feature in the Sans week is that it features 2 different outcomes. Pacifist and Genocide, aka the 2 routes in Undertale. In order to get the pacifist route, you have to not attack Sans on the second song, and then after a while, you'll get to a part where you'll lose the ability to attack, meaning hooray, you got the pacifist ending, allowing you to play the third song, Final Stretch. Another banger song in this mod. I love the transition into the waterfall. The colors and shading are genuinely extremely pretty and so nice to look at. I love how both endings in this week were perfectly crafted, each having unique and special features that would make you want to go back and play this week again just to get both of the endings. In a somewhat somber and fitting moment, after getting the pacifist route, Sans asked boyfriend to meet up with him later. And I guess it might just be me being a huge baby, but this was honestly kinda cool and kinda made me cry a little bit. Now on the contrary, in order to get the genocide route during the second song, you have to continue attacking Sans. You know that you're on the genocide route when it transitions into a more traditional Undertale fighting type of theme. This is when the instant kill notes come back and it gives the player a small taste of what's to come. After beating Sansational, boyfriend gets magically possessed by a gotcha life looking Frisk, and now Sans has to actually stop you. Meaning it's time for the third/fourth song of the Sans week, Burning in Hell.
Lead one.
This song was extremely difficult, and there are a plethora of reasons, from the overabundance of instant kill notes, which while I don't fully think they're petty or too hard, I will go on the record to say that some of these notes were just made to ruin the player's day, which kinda honestly made the experience a lot more frustrating. The song even has a part where you actually get to basically play Undertale, as in instead of rap battling Sans, you have to dodge his Gaster Blasters. Which, remember how I said that not explaining how the mechanics works wasn't that smart of a move? Well, you want to know the Indie team's second mistake? It was the hitboxes for the Gaster Blasters. The Gaster Blasters are quite inconsistent at times, with some being decent while others are completely broken. And while they aren't extremely hard to master after repeat playthroughs, seeing as all you have to literally do in order to cheese this fight is just press up and down a couple of times. I still somewhat understand why people would be upset at this, seeing as if you're not cheesing the Gaster Blasters, you're going to fail a lot and a lot. But after almost 5 hours of recorded footage and over 50 deaths to just the blue notes alone and countless other extremely annoying factors, my fingers got so used to Burning in Hell that I was able to FC the entire song. And I gotta say, it felt amazing to finally beat it. While it was extremely difficult, I always felt pushed to play more and more due to how much of an absolute banger this song is. Hands down, probably one of my most favorite songs in the BlVkarot mod. Innuendo and Saster make a wonderful pair, and they should honestly work on more music together in the future because this is an absolute masterpiece. After beating Sans, boyfriend once again proceeds to get smacked around, but just before Sans finally kills him, boom, Gotcha Life Frisk kills Sans, and then boom, Sans kills Frisk, and then boom, boyfriend gets teleported out of there. The Bendy week starts off with probably one of the most unique looking cutscenes in the entire mod, and I really love it. Afterwards, you get the first song, Imminent Demise, which is basically supposed to be a sort of hint at what's to come, surprising absolutely no one. After you beat Imminent Demise, boyfriend decides to do a little bit of trolling by hitting the cardboard cutout, knocking it over, which I guess wakes up Bendy, causing him to burst through the door, jumping right into the second part of Imminent Demise, which is a really good song with not so good Bendy vocals, something that would surprisingly continue through the rest of the week. After Imminent Demise, you get a cutscene of Sammy Lawrence trying to intervene in boyfriend's fight with Bendy, but instead gets blocked by a mysteriously red border. Now, you know how I said Bendy having bad vocals would continue through the rest of the week? Well, Terrible Sin is probably the worst offender, which really sucks because if you just remove the vocals, you have an amazing song with a bunch of amazing build-up and drops, but it just has really bad vocals. Which I guess the bad vocals really don't make the song too hard to enjoy, but it just makes any part where Bendy is singing a complete nightmare. After beating Terrible Sin, the Butcher Gang appears and tries to beat up Boyfriend, which leads into the second main mechanic of the Bendy week, aka attacking and dodging. But before we start discussing the mechanics, let's talk about Last Reel, which is probably my second favorite BlVkarot song, right behind Burning in Hell, because this song is straight fire. The vocals are on point and the instrumental is straight heat. Everything about this is amazing, and John Atlas did an amazing job. And if you dislike the song, you're just completely wrong. But back to the mechanics, Last Reel features a lot of different mechanics. The main one being the attacking and dodging. During the song, the Butcher Gang will try attacking Boyfriend, forcing you to pay attention to both the game and the monsters, because one hit from them is an equivalent to tapping an ink note. So you'll end up being blinded, making it harder to click the notes and see them at the same time. I really like this mechanic because there are a few ways to go about solving this. You can either spam the spacebar, seeing as there isn't really a cooldown stopping you, Or you can try your hardest to pay attention to both of them so you'd be able to be prepared. If you want a tip, while playing, I realized after killing one of the monsters, it takes 10 seconds for them to respawn, meaning you won't have to worry about it for 10 seconds after killing one. Also, it takes them in between 11 to 14 seconds for them to start attacking again, meaning that if you hit them right as they're about to attack you, you basically won't need to worry about that one side because they won't be able to attack you before your cooldown goes off. Almost near the end of the song, the Butcher Gang gets blown away, starting the finale to last reel. After about like 10 seconds of a break, the song starts back up even harder than ever. This part is extremely intense, basically being a challenge for the player because one wrong step could result in your death, seeing by the fact that there are a huge overabundance of instant kill notes that will force you to restart the entire song again. And if that's not hard enough, midway through this point, some idiotic, stupid, fat, dumb, ugly, poopy-brained guy walks across the screen walking over the notes, making it almost impossible to see, which might not sound that bad, but remember when I said that there is an overabundance of instant kill notes? Well, now that means you can't see the notes, and you just now have to hope you don't accidentally clicking on one of those instant kill notes that you can barely see, a pattern that would obviously continue onto the next song. After beating last reel, Bendy starts malding and begins chasing after Boyfriend, and this is the final song of the Bendy week, Nightmare Run, and oh god, is it a nightmare. Hey guys, Editor Timbu here. Before I get community game moments in the comments, I came to discuss why I have bot play turned on for Nightmare Run, and it's not because I can't beat the song, it's because my PC is subpar and Nightmare Run is extremely graphically intensive. Something like that. Meaning that I'm not able to record and play the song at the same time because I'll always have frame drops, making it extremely hard to play the song because, as you know, there are a bunch of instant kill notes and ink notes. Which is why the bot plays in free play, because I already beat the song, I just can't record myself beating it because I'll start lagging immediately. I know what you're saying, oh Timbo, just go inside of the settings and change up the graphics and turn down the FPS. That is exactly what I did, but it turns out that in order for the ink notes to fade away, it's dependent on how many frames go by, meaning that if I turn it down to 60, it's going to take significantly more time than if I had my frames turned at 120. So what would usually take a few seconds to disappear now takes 14 seconds to disappear, which might not sound that bad, but remember how I said that I can barely see when the ink notes hit my screen? Well yeah, now I can't see, and now I can't see for even longer, meaning that if I hit another ink note or a death note, it's just going to instantly kill me, because it'll become so hard for me to play at that point. Which is why I have bot play turned on. I already beat the song in free play, I just can't record myself beating the song because of the lag, which is why you get to see my reaction to the ending. So I wanted to explain that and basically, clear my name. I'm still the rhythm game veteran, except now I'm just the rhythm game veteran with an awful PC. Alright, back to the video. But before we discuss the poorly made mechanics and way too many death notes, let's discuss the song. Nightmare Run doesn't have the worst Bendy vocals, but they definitely aren't that good. But when it comes to actually being a song, it's pretty good with a few key points that sound extremely amazing. When it comes to being a sort of finale for Indie Cross, they do a somewhat decent job. I still prefer Last Reel, but besides from the music, Nightmare Run has probably the coolest background in the entire mod. In Nightmare Run, the background changes to make it seem like Boyfriend and Bendy are actually running through the studio, with the stairs part looking extremely cool and amazing. And the part with the ink machine also looks extremely pretty. But enough about the song and visuals, let's talk about what most people came here to listen to, me complain. AKA, we're going to be discussing the mechanics of Nightmare Run. When it comes to mechanics, Nightmare Run only has really 3 main mechanics: ink notes, insta-kill notes, and dark parts. Now we already discussed instant kill notes, but Nightmare Run really doesn't do anything different with them. They're there and don't hit them. But a new mechanic are the dark parts of Nightmare Run. This is when the lights go out and it becomes extremely difficult to tell where the instant kill notes are placed, resulting in tons and tons of death. Now you would think putting ink notes in the dark parts would be a bad idea, seeing as you're now making it just completely impossible to see. But nope, there they are. I can't see. I can't. Bruh! Is that fun? Please notes blend in way too much, making it way too hard to not slip up, which would result in a death. I know this might sound like a skill issue, but I had to purposely take my hands off the keyboard multiple times in hopes I wouldn't accidentally mess up. After getting to the end of Nightmare Run, just for good luck, the devs decided to throw in a plethora of instant kill notes, because if you're not already hyperventilating from adrenaline, maybe a last second challenge will mess you up, causing you to rage. After beating Nightmare Run, you get the sort of final cutscene of Boyfriend trying to run from Bendy. He ducks into a small stall to hide, but while trying to get away, the floorboard breaks, dropping him into a pit of Butcher Gang members, alerting Bendy, who then proceeds to practically kill Boyfriend. Now, I know I joked about it before, but Boyfriend got demolished in this fight scene. Like, Boyfriend became a blood gusher from how much blood was gushing. That doesn't make any sense. But through the power of music, I guess? I don't know, man. It's like 3 AM. Just let me finish this part of the video. Boyfriend creates some powerful aura that stops Bendy from killing him. Boyfriend then gets sucked into a portal, and then boom, the credits. Don't worry, I'll show everyone who worked on the mod, but I'm gonna do that at the end of the video instead of right now. So now we've went through the entirety of BlVkarot story mode, but luckily for us, there's a huge amount of other content, from bonus songs to unused contents to updated versions. So don't worry, there's still sadly a lot more that this video has to talk about. And one of those first things we need to discuss is all of the bonus content you unlock after beating the entirety of BlVkarot story mode, with the technically first song being Satanic Funk, and I actually find it quite really enjoyable. While the devil's vocals could have definitely used some tweaking, the song goes pretty hard, so once again, good job Innuendo. When it comes to the mechanics, the ones that are used here are pretty decent. The hurt notes aren't too challenging, and once you get used to the purple demons, they're pretty easy to dodge. Next up on the list is Bad to the Bone, a song I'm somewhat confused on why it's in BlVkarot, seeing as it was originally just made as a song in a fan animation, but I digress. The songs are really nice, and while it's a mystery why it's there, I'm still extremely glad it is. Now, this song on the other hand is tops down one of my most favorite songs, and that is of course BoneDoggle. Once again, Saster made another masterpiece that I love so much. Like, this song slaps too hard for it just to be a bonus song, and can we please talk about that drop at the end? Like, I've never been filled with so much happiness before from an FNF song. And it's honestly pretty cool how it manages to be one of BlVkarot's best songs, but it's not just filled to the brim with mechanics that make no sense and just end up ruining the song for the player. Just like the next song that totally doesn't have any mechanics that would ruin the experience for the player for no absolute reason. Am I right, guys? Or because what am I supposed to do? That's out of nowhere. That was literally like, here you go. Here you go.
Here you go. Here you go.
On a more serious note, Ritual is a pretty good song, and BB Panzu and Brandixon, I think that's how you pronounce it, did an amazing job making this. While I personally don't really enjoy the vocals that much, it's still a pretty good song nonetheless. Now, before we discuss Freaky Machine, I want to discuss a few things. Ever since I was a wee lad, I've been one of the biggest Bendy fans ever. I loved Bendy and Link Machine songs. I listened to the Fandroid song. I listened to JTMusic songs. If there was a Bendy song, I probably listened to it. But there was always one Bendy song that I loved differently from all the others, and that song was Build Our Machine. So when I heard about BlVkarot being made, I was ecstatic for the Bendy week. Now, if you were to tell me not only were we getting a full Bendy week, but one of the bonus songs just happened to be based off of and made by the person who made my literal most favorite Bendy song ever, but not only that, but one of my most favorite FNF music makers would also work on it, I would have called you crazy. But now, after listening to Freaky Machine, I gotta say, this is amazing, and I'm so glad that this isn't a mod. The vocals are peak, the song's amazing, DAGames and Saster completely outdid themselves, and I will forever cherish this song. I want everyone who's watching this song to at least play Freaky Machine just one time, and trust me, you'll love it. It's so good, in fact, that my computer starts making a really funny noise whenever I start playing the week. I love Freaky Machine at 12 FPS. I haven't even started playing. Oh my god, this is so bad. This is unplayable. My Freaky Machine crashed. My computer not doing so well. It is lagging and it's making noises. Uh-oh. Listen to this. Bruh. Now, I know it's pretty hard to live up to the hype and joy that is Freaky Machine, but this might be the best FNF song in FNF history. But in order to get the song, you have to first die on BoneDoggle, then download the zip file you get, or don't, like I did because I thought it was a virus.
Song.
Alright, yeah, there.
But,
Hey,
you know.
thanks for letting my brother win. He doesn't handle humans so
Why
well.
are you voicing like that?
I want to thank you with a gift. Goodbye, player. Have fun. Oh. Oh, wait. Open up a zip on my computer. Oh, Lord. Is this a virus?
It's not a virus. I download it. It's literally a single text file inside the zips.
Alright, I gotta download this. How do I get the other song now?
So you got that thing, right?
Yeah,
you got that yeah, you already did that. Okay, so now what you have to do is you got that zip file, right?
Oh, no, I didn't download it.
Why didn't you download it? Here, I
thought it was a virus. But afterwards, if you go into the free play menu and type 999-414-666, you'd get the best FNF song ever. Sines. On a more serious note, the song's, well, it's kind of hard to describe, but to put it in the best terms, I think it'd just be Dave and Bambi, but sans. Wait. It's not as bad as it sounds. The song is, it's a song, so listen to it. But the next secret song is Goose, and in order to unlock it, you have to literally just go into the free play menu and type in Goose. And now, to be honest, it's, kind of, it's good, I guess. I'm just to be completely honest, this song is probably my least favorite FNF song in the entire mod. No harsh feeling to Crystal Slime, I love the work, I just really don't enjoy the song that much. Now, Goose Classic on the other hand, that sounds really good, and manages to fix up most of the problems I had with Goose. If you're wondering how to unlock Goose Classic, you gotta first beat the entirety of IndieCross and unlock all the achievements just in order to unlock it, and honestly, I kinda feel as if it's worth it, I guess. But after beating Goose Classic, that would have been the entire selection of IndieCross. But I feel like I'm forgetting something, you know? Like, no, I just can't put my finger on what this mysterious thing is. What could it possibly be? What else could there be in the mod? I reviewed everything. You know what? I gotta figure out I gotta call one of my buds. Hey, Samuel.
Yeah, what's up?
I spent countless hours of my life playing IndieCross, editing the video of IndieCross, so long researching about this mod, and I just can't figure out what the third section in the free play port is supposed to be.
You mean the nightmare songs?
What?
You're telling me you made a fucking entire 20-minute plus video and never even heard about the nightmare songs?
No? What's that?
God. Timbo, in order to play the nightmare songs, you need to update to 1.1. They discuss this on Twitter.com.
Up off Twitter.
Kill yourself.
What? I wanted to review the original build that came out on day one instead of being like, oh yeah, that bug right there, they're just gonna fix it in a later patch.
Okay. Do you want me to just review the nightmare songs for you? Because this video is already way overdue.
Yeah, could you just do that for me?
Yeah, sure, pal. I got you. We'll start with Devil's Gambit, which, in my opinion, is the easiest song of all the nightmare songs. Which there's only like 3, so I mean, it doesn't really matter. The song starts with the camera zoomed in on the devil and a jump scare sound, which is the exact same as the intro of the Witcher Horrorland week 5 of the original game. Raise your hand if you forgot about the original game. Yeah, I did too. Anyway, the devil is dead on his throne, and I found this kind of eerie. The camera then zooms out and back to Cuphead and Boyfriend. Cuphead having glowing eyes and the atmosphere being extremely dark and gloomy. Like, can we talk about this for a second? I really appreciate the effort put into the visuals of the nightmare songs, and overall the entire mod. However, Timbo already covered that, so I won't get into that. The mechanics are mostly the same, however, there are now hurt notes, specifically the ones from the Devil's Song and Free Play, Satanic Funk. They don't really hurt you a lot though, and they don't cast misses, so they're pretty easy to deal with. When I was playing this song, it only took me maybe 10 tries. Not to brag or anything. It was really not that difficult to beat at all. However, it was a painful combo since there were main hurt notes to avoid, and the chart is incredibly fast. That is also another thing to bring up about the nightmare songs. They have really fast scroll speeds, and you can't change them either because, well... Anyway, like I was saying, really easy song. Not much else to say about it. Very easy, easy peasy. You get the drill. There's actually one more thing I want to say about it. The song's a fucking banger. Holy shit. Saruky and the Innuendo are actually such a great pair. You guys have made a fucking masterpiece. Thank you. Nightmare Sans song, Bad Time. This song is pretty good, in my opinion, and it also happens to be a very hard song. I was stuck on this for a very long time and was ecstatic when I beat it. The song's mechanics are basically the same as normal Sans week, except that there is a new mechanic to dodging. There are now blue and orange notes that appear under you, so now whenever you hear the sound that indicates to dodge, you have to look at the indicator and make sure it's not blue, because if you try to dodge that, you'll die. I make it sound a lot more complicated, but it's easy to understand when you play it. The song feels really good to play too. No matter how many times I died, I just felt more determined to beat him. hey, let's switch this video in fun. My favorite part of the song was towards the end, where the bass drop happens and you have to play while the screen is shaking. It's very difficult, but felt extremely rewarding to beat. I'd like to also mention that the artist Tenzubushi, I'm sorry if I butchered that by the way, did an amazing job making this song, because if the song wasn't good, I definitely wouldn't have taken the time to finish it. These songs are pretty difficult, but they were not nearly as hard as the last Nightmare song, which is... Okay, let's be honest. Despair is really hard. There's no denying it. The song sounds decent, however, personally it isn't as good sounding as the other songs. It also feels way too stretched out, and the parts I usually get stuck at or die on repeatedly are further along in the song, so that when you die you have to play the entire song again. So that's pretty frustrating. I ended up having to play with Timbo doing the mechanics for me via Parsec, just to be able to beat it. The mechanics are really difficult, having the butcher gang attack you, screen shaking, and of course the ink and shadow notes. The ending of the song is extremely difficult and the most memorable, since the screen shakes a ton, and the scroll speed increases tenfold, and you have to read it very fast, or else you'll die. Of course, many people complain about this, and Indie Cross devs eventually changed the way the death notes appear, and the scroll speed at the end to make it actually playable. I personally think this change should have never taken place, since that's what made this song hard. However, it's fine if you enjoy it. Beating the song was not really satisfying to me, however that's probably just because I had help doing it. It is a decent song, but it's not one of my favorites from the mod. However, once again, the shading was incredibly well done here, and I'm glad that they put their time and effort into these amazing visuals for all the Nightmare songs. Hey Timbo, I finished recording all your magnificent lines for the video.
Ah, thanks, man. Can you send them here?
Yeah, hold on. Got you. So now I'm finished doing that for you. When am I getting paid?
What?
When am I getting paid? You said you'd pay me.
Alright, look over there. So now that we've gone through all the stuff related to Indie Cross, it's time for me to discuss something I've been wanting to talk about for a while. Something I know a lot of people are going to react differently to, but that's totally fine. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, so please don't murder me for mine. But for anyone who happens to still be wondering what I'm going to be discussing, well, I'm going to be talking about the difficulty in Indie Cross, and how I personally think it made Indie Cross a lot more enjoyable and better for me personally. When Indie Cross originally released, you had a huge group of people who hated one thing about it, the difficulty, and I mean a lot of people hated the mechanics. Now, before I discuss how I felt, I want to say Moru's response and reaction were blown out of the water. While Moru's response was unprofessional and telling people it's just a skill issue was an awful idea, seeing as he's the owner of the mod, people really overreacted and treated him like absolute garbage. Something the FNF community has an issue with, but I'm not going to jump down that rabbit hole. But back to the discussion of difficulty, I find it kind of ironic that Indie Cross features both Sans and Cupheads, both being from games that feature extremely intensive boss fights that most people don't even bat an eye at. But when it's here in an FNF mod, it's surprisingly too much. If Indie Cross was just another mod with a bunch of songs, I don't think I would have came back to it after beating it. Heck, I probably wouldn't even have been making this video on it right now. The urge to beat the songs made success 1000% sweeter, and that's something I don't get a lot in FNF mods. And it's honestly something I think more FNF mods should give to the player. While the music and visuals do make FNF mods really special, I kinda just think it's getting stale for me personally. Indie Cross was probably the first mod in a very long time that I actually sat down to play and played it more than once, because I actually felt pushed to play the mod. While a lot of people dislike Moru and you think he might have pushed the mod to be too hard, I personally think that's what made Indie Cross so much more special. Now, before people discuss how it might be too hard for the common FNF player, luckily the Indie Cross team has been working on this. The mechanics difficulty changer they added felt like it was a step in the right direction, and I like how they went through and changed some of the things that were kind of petty and fixed it up, except what they did to the dodge mechanics and knockout. The original way to tell when to dodge was extremely clever, but now it's just a completely new thing, but I digress. I hope in the next update they manage to get it all under control. I also kind of think it'd be a really cool idea if you added another difficulty that allowed players to play the original version of BlVkarot, but that's just my opinion. So to wrap this part of the video up, I love the difficulty of the mod, and it made the mod so much more different and special to me personally, and I think more mods should learn from this. I also really like the fact that the BlVkarot team is actually going in and listening to feedback, and not just going in and completely scrapping the mechanics, but instead fixing some of the petty stuff and adding new difficulties for players who have trouble with the mechanics. So now I finally got everything off my chest I needed to say about BlVkarot. So when it comes to being an FNF mod, this will probably always be my most favorite FNF mod ever. Everything about this is amazing, and I could just tell all the time and effort that was put into making this one of the best mods ever. The devs made something special, and I hope all their future projects go just as well as this one did. There are a small amount of issues that seem to be getting worked on for future builds, but in the grand scheme of things, they don't affect my viewing of the mod that much. I'm really pumped for the new indie characters they're adding, and I will most definitely be checking it out when it drops. And I just can't wait for what's next in BlVkarot. So, if you happen to enjoy this video, please like and subscribe. This would mean a lot to me, and I put in a lot of hours into this video. Also, if you'd like to see me review any other mods, here's my Discord and the comments, I guess. So, that's it, folks. That's the outro. Yeah.